Part 34. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 331. These visions caused mixed reactions from the cultivators present, and most of them were amazed. However, Sect Master Qi, who belonged to Qinghong Sword Sect, had the most ugly expression, because none of them had anything to do with Qinghong Sword Sect. The appearance of these visions is nothing more than a sign that these two have a great opportunity in the Sword Pavilion. They believe that the Qinghong Sword Sect is the highest swordsmanship in the Wanluo continent, and they have trained countless swordsmen and broke out in the Wanluo continent. The illustrious reputation should also be the biggest winner of this Jianzhi operation. However, the appearance of Thunder Dragon and Black Eagle now is no different from slaps in the face. Who is it? What are these two boys? The purple Thunder Dragon and Black Eagle climbed to the highest point and then plunged down, only to feel two rays of light flashing past, and then the Thunder Dragon and Black Eagle disappeared. Look there! The two monks are standing facing each other on the left and the right. Isn't this going to start a fight? There is no room for two tigers in one mountain. If you want to get the most benefit, you must decide the outcome. Huh? One of them looks familiar, let's see who that person is. Since the appearance of the purple Thunder Dragon, Qi Xian has covered her mouth to prevent herself from screaming or crying excitedly. The breath is too familiar to her. It's her son, it's Qi Changjai. No wonder Gu Yao took part in this operation and entered the Sword Pavilion with all his heart. Did the child sense that Chang Ye was in the Sword Pavilion? Junior sister, that's... Yin Shi also looked at one of the figures excitedly, and then turned to see Qi Xian's expression, which made him even more sure. Deal. Yes, it's Chang Ye. Chang Ye is back. I didn't expect him to be here. Qi Xian burst into tears, and nodded again and choked up. Say. Some disciples of Lingyuan sect recognized it. That was not the former Zhong Changjai, no, it was called Qi Changjai now. Some disciples were able to call him out immediately, thanks to Ye Yun who was in front of him. When Ye Yun was arrogant as they walked past, there were disciples of Lingyuan sect who brought up an old story from previous years, but they never expected senior brother Changjai to appear in front of them in this way. Didn't senior brother Changjai fall into the space crack in the secret realm? How can it appear in the Sword Pavilion? Could it be that the missing years have been in the Sword Pavilion? The identity of Qi Changjai spread quickly among the disciples of Lingyuan sect, and the disciples who were a little disappointed immediately cheered up. As long as Lingyuan sect got the benefits, it would be a great event. They didn't have to let other sects steal the limelight. What kind of identity is a black-clothed cultivator? But now Lingyuanzong also has a share, and finally he has not been occupied by others. Sect Master Sun and others didn't recognize Qi Changjai's identity at all, but it was because there was too much movement from the disciples of Lingyuan sect below, and the shouts were heard in their ears. A genius disciple, and now he has come out to make a big splash. Elder Bailey looked at Qi Changjai with burning eyes. She didn't expect such a talent from her section. She could see through Qi Changjai's current cultivation base at a glance, and she could look forward to the future. Sect Master Sun felt that his eyes were getting dark. How could he not be a disciple of the Five Elements sect? Where did the disciples of the Five Elements sect go, so unsatisfactory? Okay, your Lingyuan sect is really good at calculating, didn't you plan it earlier? Sect Master Sun said through gnashing of teeth. Seeing this scene, Sect Master Yuan also settled down, and explained with a good temper, this is indeed my sect disciple Qi Changjai, but he has been missing for nearly 50 years. Does Sect Master Sun remember the accident that happened in the secret realm of Qingyang? It was at that time that this disciple fell into the crack in space, and there has been no news since. Then how could he be in the Sword Pavilion? Sect Master Sun also remembered that there was indeed such a thing back then. Lingyuan sect had damaged many disciples. He was still gloating at the misfortune. How did he know that retribution was waiting here? So what is a momentary gain or loss? Sect Master Yuan shook his head, maybe it was another chance. Fellow Daoist Qi, let's fight again. Yan Yuanjing's eyes were full of strong fighting intent, and his body was full of sword energy. It was great for him to see Qi Changjai at this time. I didn't expect that there would be an equal opponent in Jianzhi, but I still knew it. Qi Changjai was much calmer, and he asked, "Did you get the inheritance?" "That's right, although the senior is a demon, the swordsmanship is very suitable for my taste." "That is the swordsmanship I am looking for." Yan Yuanjing's eyes were full of yearning and excitement. The previous swordsmanship always made him feel that something was missing, even though every time he fights with Qi Changjai, he can understand a lot of things, but it is still not satisfactory, but this time it is different. "Congratulations, I also think it suits you, and it turned out to be you." Qi Changjai sincerely congratulates, "Senior's kendo is not suitable for me." So he has no regrets. "Thank you." Yan Yuanjing's stern expression softened. "But today is not suitable for a contest with you. Let's go to another day. When you come to Lingyun sect, I will greet you." "Gu Yao is in the sword pavilion at the moment," Qi Changjai answered very seriously. At this time, he was unable to fight against Yan Yuanjing. With all his heart, he thought this was not what Yan Yuanjing would like to see. Yan Yuanjing really had some regrets, but he didn't insist on going any further, so he said, "Well, after a month, I'll go to Lingyun sect, and you and I will fight to the fullest." "Okay." The two clapped their hands in the air to set up a battle. Yan Yuanjing swept a condescending glance, and immediately wrapped in sword energy, it turned into a rainbow light to escape, and the speed was so fast that it was impossible to stop it. The head Qi of Qinghong sword sect was so angry that his face turned blue. One was Qi Changjai of Lingyun sect, and that was his disciple Ye Yun's old rival. A sword cultivator who appeared out of nowhere, is actually an old acquaintance of Qi Changjai, and listen, the inheritance of the mad sword demon senior actually fell into the hands of such a nameless boy. He is also angry. Others didn't pay much attention, such as Sect Master Sun and others. When they heard the word Gu Yao mentioned by Qi Changjai, it was because of this person Qi Changjai that he had no intention of fighting Yan Yuanjing. Could this Gu Yao be the ancient Dan of Lingyun sect? Division. This time, even the head of Gu Yuemin, Yu Kairon, couldn't help but say, "Gu Yao is the ancient alchemist of your Lingyun sect, right?" He and Qi Changjai are also old acquaintances. Sect Master Yuan laughed, "I didn't expect Chang Ye to be so unbearable. If I didn't expect it to be bad, Gu Alchemist and Chang Ye are a pair of Taoist companions." I sensed Chang Ye's breath in Gu Alchemist. Yu Kairong immediately looked at Sect Master Sun sympathetically, and only then did he understand why Sect Master Yuan said that the ancient alchemist was destined to enter the Lingyun section. The reason was here. Sect Master Sun also understood, and could not help but slap his old face. "The surnamed Yuan. Not really a thing." Yenwuji said unhappily that the kid ran away without saying hello. Where to find it? "Are you sure he got the inheritance? Then what happened to the sword pavilion?" Sect Master Sun took the opportunity to say, "Ask the surnamed Yuan asterisk." Sect Master Yuan smiled and said, "If you want to inherit and return to inheritance, the sword pavilion is not completely controlled by the senior crazy sword demon. In his opinion, it would be wisest for the Jiangxiu named Yan Yuanjing to leave alone. The sword pavilion is really going to fall on him, not to mention the others, just the four elders of the gods and them. Yan Yuanjing cannot be left alone." Qi Changjai first glanced at the situation in the sword pavilion and saw that Gu Yao's current situation was in danger, so he looked at the direction where Sect Master Yuan and others were, and clasped his fists and said, "Disciple Qi Changjai pays respect to Sect Master. Sect Master, and everyone senior, please enter the sword pavilion for a chat, the disciples have important matters to discuss." The cultivator below suddenly became agitated. He was really a disciple of Lingyun sect, he didn't see his attitude so respectful. Sect Master Yuan took the lead out of the hiding place, and said with a loud laugh, Yuan Mao will come with you in the long night. Yes, this elder is with the sect master. Elder Bailey also came out of the invisible place. Yin Wuji rolled his sleeves and said, let's go, let's see what this kid has to say. One by one, the bosses walked over the Jianj, and Qi Changjai made an invitation gesture, and then these bosses entered the interior of the Jianj from a temporary passage. Qi Sek's face collapsed to the extreme again. What does this mean? It shows that Jianj has a great relationship with the kid Qi Changjai, and what horrified him the most was that Qi Changjai's cultivation level was the same as him, and he was still a kid who was less than 100 years old. He thought that cultivating Yayun to the early stage of nascent soul would be outstanding, but this outcast kid could go so far. The disciples of Lingyun sect were excited for a long time, and Qi Changjai called himself a disciple in front of the sect master, which was an incorrect indication of his identity. It's really senior brother Changjai, no, it should be called Uncle Changjai. What kind of cultivation is senior Uncle Changjai competing for now? It was just a golden core at the beginning. That's right, he was a genius in our sect at the beginning. Not only is Shan Lingan of the Thunder system, but also has a very high talent in swordsmanship. I read it for a long time when I disappeared, and now it is better than Ye of Qinghong sword section. It's awesome. Uncle Changjai mentioned the ancient alchemist just now. Did Uncle Changjai know the ancient alchemist? That's strange. How could Uncle Changjai appear in the sword pavilion? This is the first time Qi Changjai has appeared since he disappeared. Not with them. Isn't Master Gu Alchemist a descendant of Uncle Qi Xian? Maybe he has known each other long ago. Uncle Qi Xian has completely turned over now. Yes, I didn't hear Uncle Changjai calling himself Qi Changjai. I don't know what Uncle Zhong felt. What are you thinking, by the way? What about Zhong Changan? He and Uncle Changjai are brothers. Take it down. Before Master Changjai disappeared, he was in trouble with Master Changjai everywhere. When Master Changjai came back, he had to run away in despair, or wait for Master Changjai to find him to settle the old account. The disciples were discussing excitedly. Zhong Changan, who was in a tent at the back, could not wait to plug his ears. It was really the guy who came back. How could he come back? He couldn't see through the cultivation base at all, and it seemed that he got a great opportunity in the Jianj, and the sect master looked at him differently. Can he suppress this guy in the future? Zhong Changan took a chance and slipped away quietly. He wanted to hurry back to the sect and tell his father about the incident. Would his father endure this guy's limelight? Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 332. Qi Changjai invited the big bosses to the core control room of the Jianj. Sect Master Yuan and others discovered the problem as soon as they entered. Being in this spherical void that relies on the Jianj, you can see the situation in the Jianj at a glance. However, even in this spherical space, there is actually a trace of cracks. What does this mean? It shows that something has gone wrong in the sword pavilion. If the crack is allowed to continue, the sword pavilion will collapse one day. Long yet, what's going on? Sect Master, all seniors, it's not without reason that Senior Crazy Sword Demon placed the sword pavilion here. Senior used the sword pavilion to suppress the space crack here. The other end of the crack leads to the demon world, so there will be demonic energy has penetrated in. For thousands of years, the sword pavilion has not been maintained and replenished, so the energy consumption is huge, and now I can only ask the sect master and seniors to take action. Sect Master Sun smacked his lips. Why did this sound so unpleasant? Oh, you have taken the emotional benefits, and you have to let us contribute to the money. This is all about making wedding clothes for this kid like you. Yin Wuji's feeling is not so bad, probably he is the type that prefers Yan control. Seeing Qi Changjai in front of him, he is arrogant, and he doesn't feel so disgusted. Besides, the inheritance of Senior Crazy Sword Demon is for another kid. He was thinking about the possibility of letting that kid change the way of magic. He played the taste. How did the crack leading to the demon world appear here? Could it be that the Senior Crazy Sword Demon played too much and used too much force, and he split it out, so he left the sword pavilion to wipe his ass? Sect Master Yun and others twitched the corners of their mouths. It's not that they didn't listen to the legends from the outside world. The Senior Mad Sword Demon shattered the void and went to another higher space. It may be the spiritual world, or it may directly fly to the immortal world. Just listen, could it be that the senior really had such a crazy idea and put it into practice? Chi Changjai coughed lightly and said, "This disciple is not clear about this matter. Perhaps Daiyuan will know more about Senior Crazy Sword Demon's past. All I know is the double interest passed to me by the Sword Pavilion. That is to say, it is not the Mad Sword Demon Senior who is related to him, but the Sword Pavilion itself. Judging from the information given to him by the Sword Pavilion, the Mad Sword Demon Senior only got the Sword Pavilion at the beginning, but could not fully recover it. One of them is very important. The reason is that the Sword Pavilion obtained by the Crazy Sword Demon is not complete." Several bosses looked at each other, and they also thought that the Senior Crazy Sword Demon and the Sword Pavilion may not be one. The white-bearded god Transformation Elder asked curiously, "Do you know whether the Mad Sword Demon Senior died or went to another dimension?" As soon as he said it, the other bigwigs also looked at Chi Changjai very gossip, thinking that they also grew up listening to the deeds of Senior Crazy Sword Demon, and so far they have not reached the achievements of Senior. How can they not admire this one, of course, was very concerned about his whereabouts. Chi Changjai did not expect that one day he would need to satisfy the gossip of these bigwigs. After all, when he left Wanluo continent, these bigwigs were high-level existences to him, and he had to say, "Senior, he didn't die when he left the Sword Pavilion to guard here, and it is unknown later." "Then how did you appear here?" Sect Master Sun has been unconvinced. "Did you fall into this place after disappearing?" Chi Changjai glanced at the suzerain of the Five Elements sect and said, "No, I went to other continents through the space rift, and I just returned from other continents not long ago, and something went wrong in the passage. I didn't expect that. I came here, and I think it has something to do with the chance I met in the continent below. The Jianj here is not complete. The disciple was lucky to have entered the bottom of the Jianj, and maybe he left some marks on his body, which attracted me to the Jianj." Ao Meng and Feng Lingjun listened to the Schadenfreude. No wonder, if Sect Master Sun will let the disciples of the Five Elements sect try it out, maybe there will be some opportunities in other continents. Ao Meng's impression of Chi Changjai is not bad. It is also because of the thunder dragon formed by Chi Changjai's sword energy, which makes him feel intimacy. Besides, he also has an account in his heart. Chi Changjai is not weak and has strong stamina. The Taoist companion is also an alchemist, and being friends with such a cultivator is not bad for a demon cultivator. Sect Master Sun was so angry that he blew his beard and stared, but everyone was very concerned about the issue of space cracks and leakage of demonic energy. The cracks cannot be ignored, otherwise the entire continent will be endangered, and it is closely related to the various sect forces, but if they are repaired, the benefits will be obtained by Chi Changjai alone or by the Lingyun sect, and other forces will not be happy. What? How could Chi Changjai not understand their concerns, and would not take the Jianj away in front of so many cultivators, putting himself and Guyao in endless trouble? "Seniors, don't worry, I am not the owner of the Jianj, it's just with the imprint of the Sword Pavilion. After the repair is complete, the sword repair will still guard the cracks here, unless someone can heal the cracks here, or the Sword Pavilion will not be able to move. And Jianj has its own consciousness. How to repair it is up to Jianj himself." Chi Changjai's voice fell, and a phantom appeared in this closed void. The shape was a sword, and it looked very simple. The ancient sword shook, and Sect Master Yun and others received a message at the same time. The message contained the materials needed to repair the sword pavilion. In the future, the sword pavilion will be opened once every 50 years, and the number of monks who can enter is also limited. Otherwise, the sword pavilion will be overloaded. Sect Master Yuan did not feel that the requirements were too high. Thinking about how high the swordsmanship achievements of the crazy sword demon were, you can see how valuable the sword pavilion is. It can be said that the sword pavilion is an excellent test place for sword cultivators. The entire Wanluo continent has no place beyond it. When they first came in, they glanced at the general situation of the sword pavilion. The first floor may look normal, but the second floor is equivalent to the superposition of several secret realms. This kind of sword pavilion is indeed not the cultivator of Wanluo continent. Built, I don't know if it came from the spiritual world or is a higher being. The materials needed by the sword pavilion are extremely rare. Sect Master Yuan glanced at Qi Changjai, who was standing aside. No wonder this kid did not hesitate to call them in and threw out the problem. By himself, when will he be able to collect all of this materials, and only by gathering all the major sects can easily pass the level. Thinking of this, a smile flashed in the eyes of Yuan Sect Master. So the next step is the big bosses like Yuan Sect Master and Gu Jian bargaining. Qi Changjai stood with his arms crossed and did not talk much, and finally Gu Jian seemed to give in reluctantly, changed from 50 years to 40 years, and disappeared after he agreed. Gone, obviously aware of these monks' bad dealings. Not only did it disappear by itself, but in the next moment, it also sent out Sect Master Yuan and others, including the disciples who entered the Jianj trial, and kicked them out mercilessly, until Sect Master Yuan and others came out of the Jianj pavilion. When I was there, I saw the monks being spit out by the sword pavilion. When they came out, they still kept their original postures. Oh, how did we get out? I'm still in the process of breaking through. Great, I almost lost my life, but I didn't expect it to come out, haha, great. Ah, I haven't picked my prize yet, can you give me my prize? The scene was a mess, and the sword pavilion hanging in the void had taken away all its brilliance and stood there quietly, like a quaint building with a bit of history. Qi Changjai didn't care about the others. The first time those monks were kicked out, he rushed towards one of them, grabbed him and stabilized his figure, and at the same time, he hit him with aura, dragging his uncle and others. Stay, don't let them roll around in the air a few times. Gu Yao was about to fight back, but at that moment, a familiar breath filled his chest, and his spiritual power was withdrawn. Brother, yeah, it's really you. We all came out? You came out with us? Yin Hua flew over. This kid is too rude, so he can't be gentle. Zhou then rushed over. Okay, at this juncture, I can still think of some of our old guys, so this kid is not bad. Tang Xiu said happily, fellow Daoist Qi, it's been a long time no see. Gu Yao still wanted to hug Qi Changjai. After being separated for so long, he realized that he missed him so much, but his uncle and their voices suddenly came in, only to realize that the current environment was not right. He didn't want to be with Qi Changjai in full view making an intimate gesture. He quickly transmitted a voice and asked, what's going on with all this? Qi Changjai also looked at Gu Yao greedily for a while, then turned around and grabbed his hand tightly, stood with him, and explained, I leave everything to the sect master and other seniors, don't worry. He smiled again. Say hello to Yin Hua and others, uncle, too, stay safe. Yin Hua hurriedly said, I'm sick, I don't see how tired we are, so let's find a place to adjust our breath, that ghost place almost tossed us to death. Qi Changjai was happy to patronize her, and when she looked at it next time, it was just like what my uncle said. Gu Yao was very exhausted, and he was still injured. Now is not the time to reminisce about the old days, so he hurriedly said, Uncle, come with me. Qi Changjai guarded Gu Yao to clear the way in front of him, and with a swipe of his eyes, he saw the location of Ling Yunzong and where his mother was. Qi Xian also beckoned from below, and asked Qi Changjai to bring Gu Yao and a few people into her portable cave to quickly recuperate. Wait, the head of Qi jumped out unwillingly. The disciple Yayun, who had high hopes for his son, didn't get much this time. Qinghong Jianmen also killed and injured many disciples, so the long night passed. Sect Master Yuan waved his hand, and Sect Master Qi was blocked by an invisible force, unable to get close to Qi Changjai, so he watched him lead people away, and the disciples of Lingyun sect quickly gave up a place come, let Qi Changjai unhindered, and guessed his relationship with Gu Yao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 333. Master Gu must be the Taoist companion of Uncle Qi. I didn't see their relationship so close. No wonder, Uncle Qi Xian takes so much care of Master Gu. If you want to come here, Uncle Qi Xian already knows the identity of Master Gu. Seeing that Qi Changjai and Gu Yao entered the cave with Qi Xian, Yin Hua and others followed them in together. The disciples of Lingyun sect were talking about each other, and the revelation of this relationship also made it seem that Zhongzheyu's guilt was unreasonable. It's even a big joke. Some monks sighed quietly and pinched away the little things that had just sprouted in their hearts. These two are both dragons and phoenixes. It is a very rare and ordinary thing for people to see love in their hearts, but their temperament is not very good. The same two people stand together, but they seem so harmonious. There is no one person between the two. It is better to take it back sooner than to pay the wrong heart. There are still many outstanding monks. Besides, whoever stipulates that monks must find a Taoist companion, walk on this road alone, and make 3 or 5 confidants and friends, is no less than others. Gu Yao suddenly woke up when he entered the portable cave with Qi Changjai. He had not disclosed his relationship with Qi Changjai to Qi Xian, but now Qi Changjai is holding his hand in front of so many monks. When I walked in front of Qi Xian, yes, I hugged him before, but now I looked at Qi Xian beside him, and his face burned with a bang. When Qi Changjai saw the battle outside and the sect decoration on Gu Yao's clothes, he knew that Gu Yao had entered the Lingyun sect and met his mother. He still recognized the magic talisman made by his mother. However, he thought that Gu Yao had revealed the relationship between the two to his mother long ago, but now, when he saw Gu Yao's blushing face, he suddenly understood that Gu Yao didn't explain it, but seeing the teasing expression on his mother's face, Qi Changjai, his mother has actually guessed it. Qi Changjai grabbed Gu Yao's hand and walked 2 steps before coming to Qi Xian. Mother, this is Gu Yao, my son, my Taoist companion *. Qi Xian finally waited for this moment, so happy that her mouth could not be closed, and she seemed unrestrained. Okay, mother knows, Xiaoao is very good, Changye has a good eye. Gu Yao's face became even hotter. This was the official meeting with his parents, but despite being extremely shy, he still had the guts to change his mouth. Mother. Qi Xian nodded happily and agreed, but now is not the time to speak, so she urged her son, take Xiaoao to recuperate and recover. If there is a suzerain in the outside world, you can leave it alone. Okay, mother. Yin Hua in the back rolled his eyes indecently, feeling so sad that he was completely kidnapped for his good album. Outside, Sect Master Qi was stopped by Sect Master Yuan, and he was furious. Yayun also returned to the side of Qinghong's sword section. He also saw Qi Changjai's striking figure, plus the talk he heard from other people, organized to get a terrible fact, but he was choked with blood, and his expression was a little stunned, and he was injured. Senior brother, yeah, this guy is too arrogant, who knows what Ling Yunzong did. Yayun was even more uncomfortable hearing such words. Does this mean that he can't compare to this guy Qi Changjai? But also, he couldn't see what kind of cultivation Chi Chang'ai is now. At a glance, the guy gave him the same feeling as his master. How is this possible? Sect Master Yuan, is your Lingyun sect trying to bully others? Sect Master Chi said angrily. Don't be impatient, Sect Master Chi. Sect Master Yuan's voice came out in a clear and shallow voice, without a trace of fireworks, which formed a sharp contrast with the irascible Sect Master Chi. Standing tall and standing when the opportunity arises, Yuan will act as a representative and explain the situation of Jianj to all parties present. The senior mad sword demon left the sword pavilion here to guard the crack leading to the demon world. The magic energy here leaked from the crack, but because the consumption of the sword pavilion was too great after a lapse of 10,000 years, the sword pavilion itself came out. Some of us just went in and negotiated with Jianj and reached an agreement. We need to provide a repair material for the sword pavilion, and the sword pavilion is open to our monks in Wanluo continent every 40 years, allowing a group of monks to enter the trial. The number of places is limited. The materials provided by all parties will determine the proportion, and at the same time, a certain amount should be set aside for the mainland's loose repairs. If there is no objection from all parties, we will take this opportunity to finalize the matter. As soon as Sect Master Yuan's voice fell, the scene was concealed, but I didn't expect such a situation. But if you think about it carefully, it is not without a trace. The reason why this place has aroused the attention of all parties is that it is an abnormal explosion of demonic energy. Where does the demonic energy come from? Why do eruptions occur? It's not that the cracks are busy exacerbating the flow of demonic energy, and the expansion of the cracks also indicates that the guard of the sword pavilion has become weaker, and it is the sword pavilion itself that has a problem. After Sect Master Yuan finished speaking, Sect Master Sun threw out a portable cave mansion, and asked all the bosses to discuss in detail. The portable cave mansion was placed next to the sword pavilion. The four major sects and the Yaomeng will not give in, which is the Yaomeng. The two bosses also saw the training environment inside. Although it is extremely dangerous, it is indeed a good place to train people, and it does not seem to be inside. Lack of resources can bring out the good things inside, enough to make up for the sect's efforts. Sect leader Qi didn't expect this result. Seeing that the big bosses all entered the portable cave, he shut his teeth and flew over quickly. Although he wanted to take the sword pavilion as his own, the current situation made him know that this was not possible. If Qinghong Jianmen dared to take away the sword pavilion, let alone if it could be done, it would immediately become the entire Wanluo enemy of the continent. The other sect forces did not have so much struggle mentality as the head of Qi. After discussing with each other, they felt that they could not pass up this opportunity and try to get some places, especially the sect forces with swordsmen who could not miss it, so one after another, some people flew to their pockets. Cave, go. Went in. The loose cultivators present had no objection. The four major sects and the Demon Alliance took into account the interests of their loose cultivators, and gave some quotas. Originally, the sword pavilion was closed, and most of the monks could leave. However, everyone was still talking about it enthusiastically, and no one was willing to leave first. Who is that black-clothed swordsman, which made everyone very curious. After hearing the conversation with Chi Chang'ai, the two obviously knew each other. That man was really neat and unrestrained, he left as soon as he said it, and no one else had reacted yet. If he wanted to see him again, he had to wait for his appointment with Chi Chang'ai in January. The most important thing is that he has obtained the inheritance of the Mad Sword Demon Senior. He is the only one who has obtained it among so many sword cultivators, which shows that he himself has been recognized by the Mad Sword Demon Senior. Will it be the second Mad Sword Demon again? Some monks decided to leave here and went straight to Lingyunzang, waiting to see the duel between the two, the swordsmanship competition. One is the descendant of the senior crazy sword demon, and the other should also get great benefits from the sword pavilion. The competition of people is definitely of extraordinary significance. Another is the character Chi Changjai and his relationship with Guyao. How did the two know each other? The news that Chi Changjai fell into the space crack in the secret realm and disappeared, almost no one thinks he's still there is a possibility of coming back. If it wasn't for the news from Ling Yunzong, his soul card hadn't shattered, and no one might think he was still alive. But this person has returned to Wanluo continent in such a high-profile manner. Before leaving, he was just a cultivator who had just completed his elixir, but now he has become a nascent soul. This result was personally identified by some nascent soul cultivators. The speed of promotion is shocking. So, the ancient alchemist is still a little short. It seems that the ancient alchemist has just entered the middle stage of the nascent soul. Just entered? That's better than many cultivators. Don't forget that the ancient alchemist is still a famous alchemist. We can enter this death demon domain so quickly, thanks to the demon-devouring strains researched by the ancient alchemist. We didn't listen to Baikaiman. Now, the cultivation technique of the ancient alchemist is very clever, making Baikaiman feel ashamed. What are you all worried about? Whether Master Gu and Master Qi are together is their own business, and there is no room for outsiders to interject. After Yan Yuanjing, everyone didn't know much about him, and he was absent, so Qi Changjai became a hotly debated figure, and the atmosphere of Qinghong Jianmen was not so pleasant. Even if the disciples wanted to discuss something, I have to avoid Yayun, and Brother Yes Heart is coming back again. After a day and a night, the negotiation in the cave house next to Jianj ended. The four major sects and the Yaomeng were the leaders, and the parties involved signed an agreement. According to the list of materials given by the Jianj, all the sects claimed it. Part of it was obtained, and the number of places to enter the sword pavilion was proportionally obtained. As for how to implement the quota of loose cultivators, you can consider it later. Each force has their own calculations. See which loose cultivator enters. After you come out, you can pull people into your sect, or before you enter. Just negotiate privately first. There is never a shortage of good seedlings in the scattered cultivation. After they finished their discussions here, Guyao and his group also adjusted their breaths, and they all embarked on the return journey together. Yinhua and the three were left on the dragon boat by Guyao and returned to Lingyun city together. With their cultivation base, it was easy to join the Lingyun sect, but obviously the three of them were not happy. Yinhua felt that it was enough for his nephew to be pulled into Lingyunzang, but he still wanted to pull them all in. They stayed outside so that Guyao could support him. After leaving, Zhou sent out a few messages. Guyao thought about it when he saw it. He thought of the news of Wang Yuzhi's death, but now is not the time to ask anything. Qi Changjai was called to the sect master. The sect master and other high-level officials wanted to know about Qi Changjai's experience over the years. There is a heaven in the sky. Who would have thought that his cultivation had progressed so fast in the past few years outside, and he also had the imprint of the sword pavilion on his body, otherwise how could Ling Yunzong gain a favorable position this time? The sect disciples who knew Qi Bo congratulated her one after another, not to mention the reunion of mother and son, and returning to the sect in such a high-profile manner has greatly improved Qi Xian's status in the sect. It turned out that there was only the Qi family behind Qi Bo, who could only provide her with financial support, but could not help her improve her status in the section. However, now her son is a sword cultivator of Yuanying Dachan, and his son's Taoist companion is a 6th-grade alchemist. And made a major contribution to the section with the support of these two people. Their status is close to that of the elders of the sect, and the sect will definitely reuse Qi Changjai and Guyao. Transmigration, First-Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 334. Guyao accompanies Mother Qi and her uncle to talk. Qi Xian is also very warm and polite to Yinhua, and the two of them have something in common, that is, they both follow the way. At first, they were courteous, and Qi Xian also had to take care of Zhou Hu and Tang Xiu who were present. Who would have thought that the more they chatted, the more involved they became? Not to mention the two of them, even Gu Yao was left aside. Test materials on the spot. Zhou Hu couldn't stop seeing the black line. Fortunately, Yin Hua was still pretending to be old at the moment. Otherwise, handsome men and beautiful women would stand together, and it would be easy for outsiders to think about it. Yin Hua's demeanor is more in line with the legendary little white face. On the other hand, Qi Changjai also briefly explained the experience of these years to the sect master and elder Bailey. There were other senior members of the sect present, and it was very embarrassing to hear it. If Qi Changjai was not very lucky, it would be difficult for a cultivator to leave. To this point, it is not that there have been cases in the sect where the cultivation base has fallen and regressed due to various reasons. How many people may have not given up and persisted to the end? Moreover, in a continent where spiritual energy resources are very scarce, it is indeed not easy to get to today, but it also shows the tenacity of Qi Changjai's current temperament on the other hand. Before leaving, Qi Changjai handed over a jade slip that he had prepared earlier to Sect Master Yuan, which was all about the passage to the spiritual world. He lived in Lingyuan sect since he was a child, and regarded Lingyuan sect as his home. There is no doubt about the relationship, so he can rest assured that these things will be handed over to the section. On the other hand, he doesn't want to bother himself and Gu Yao, and he has to work hard and thankless, and he will face doubts from all sides. He believed that if there was a sect to come forward, it would be better than him and Gu Yao. After handing over the things, Qi Changjai patted his and walked away, very dashing. It is better to spend more time with Gu Yao and his mother. He was trapped in the sword pavilion and couldn't know about Gu Yao's situation, but he was tossed miserably. Sect Master, what is it? Elder Bailey asked curiously, because Qi Changjai's attitude was both casual and cautious, and he seemed relieved. Sect Master Yuan quickly scanned his consciousness, and at the same time thought of Qi Changjai's expression just now. He couldn't help crying and laughing, and said, "It's a good thing, it's a great thing, it's more important than the Jianj thing. You go down first, I have something to do with Bailey elders. Business affairs." The other high-level executives resigned, and Sect Master Yuan handed the jade slip to Elder Bailey to see. Elder Bailey couldn't sit still as soon as he glanced at it. He couldn't hold back his anger more than Sect Master Yuan, and it was no wonder she was like this. What God-turning cultivator doesn't yearn for the spiritual world? Now, these God-turning cultivators can only imagine the scenes of the spiritual world from the classics. Good. Good. It is a great fortune for our sect to have disciples like Qi Changjai in our Lingyuan sect. Originally thought that the sword pavilion was a great gift, but it turned out that the thicker one was still to come. The passage has been blocked for these years, and Wanluo continent has become more and more unstable. Maybe there will be more and more God-transforming powers in the future. Go to the opposite side. When people are too busy, there will be a lot of right and wrong, and the destructive power of transforming spirits is astonishing. Moreover, the resources suitable for the cultivators of the gods are becoming more and more scarce, which makes people suspect that after thousands of years, it will be difficult for the gods to appear. Sect Master Yuan nodded, agreeing with this statement. We have to find a time to discuss this matter with other sects. We don't have to let us. It is beneficial to our entire Wanluo continent to take all Yunzong down. But for now, it's still important to get things done in the sword pavilion first. Elder Bailey also agreed that the space cracks there should not be sloppy. They are on this continent and naturally have deep feelings for Wanluo continent. It is undoubtedly a disaster for the mainland. Qi Changjai now feels that the task has been handed over. In the future, he and Gu Yao can practice leisurely and walk around. In the sky of Wanluo continent, there are those who are capable of transforming gods. He didn't arrive so soon. That step. Zongmen arranged a small courtyard for them this time. Chi Changjai returned to the courtyard and found that his mother and uncle were arguing fiercely about something, while Guyao accompanied Zhouhu and Monk Tang to talk, and Chi Changjai opened the door. When he entered, Guyao immediately raised his eyes and looked over. Qi Xian didn't lift her head, and said, "Chang Ye is back, you and Xiaoao have been separated for so long, you must have a lot to say, you can talk on your own, you don't need to accompany us elders." Yin Hua paused for a moment, then waved his hand in a disgusting tone, let's go, don't get in the way in front of us." A smile appeared in Chi Changjai's eyes. Seeing that his mother was all right, his heart was at ease. Now he has the ability to make her mother live a better life and can rely on her. "Okay, Xiaoao and I will go back to the room to talk." Chi Changjai rudely pulled Guyao back to their room. The relationship has passed the bright road, of course they will not be arranged separately. Guyao was still a little not used to this appearance in front of the elders, but after returning to the room and being hugged tightly by Chi Changjai, he couldn't help but stretch out his arms to hug him. The thoughts that had been suppressed before were surging like a tidal wave. "Come, knock him over, and you can indulge your feelings." After a long time, Guyao fell on Chi Changjai's lap, and the two had a good conversation and talked about the situation after the two separated. Chi Changjai grabbed Guyao's hand and said that he was anxious when he found out that Guyao was not around, but fortunately he knew that Guyao's strength was not weak and his alchemy skills were superb. "I can only sink my heart and work hard to break through the barrier and walk out of the sword pavilion." He didn't know where the sword pavilion was. In the past, his strength was not enough to go to the death domain. Later, after successfully passing the test, he learned the initial situation from the sword pavilion. Compared with the distribution of the entire Wanluo continent, he vaguely guessed. In what place? You guessed right, the second layer is connected to the secret realms. There are 9 secret blocks in total, and the environment is different. By the way, I picked some spirit medicine, just thinking that I will leave it to you for alchemy. When I saw it, I thought that you would be happy when you saw it, otherwise, Chi Changjai would not have thought about foreign things at all because he was eager to get out of the customs at that time. "Where is the exit?" Guyao unceremoniously put all the spirit grass into his space, and when he is free, he will check for some good things. "Could it be that you have to go through the 9th floor space to get out?" Guyao remembered that a few of them had gone through 4 levels of space in total, and when they were in a state of embarrassment, they were suddenly thrown out. According to the situation at the time, he wanted to go through all the 9 levels of space, and he felt that it was not enough. Chi Changjai lowered his head and smiled, "I didn't come out through the exit. Remember the jade slip that Elder Yi gave me at Tianfu College? My swordsmanship made a breakthrough in it, so I finally broke through the space and came out, otherwise I really need it. Only after going through the 9-layer space will it be teleported." Guyao narrowed his eyes, saying that fortunately he was thrown out, otherwise he and his uncle would have to go through layers of space miserably. "What about fellow deist Yan Yu and Jing Yan?" Chi Changjai speculated. "He should have been stared at by the primordial spirit left by the senior in the 1st floor, and he did not go through the level like me, the primordial spirit left by the senior. It won't last long, and Dai Yan's temperament and swordsmanship are very similar to that senior's taste. He was targeted first, but because of his different paths, the senior was very disappointed, but because he had the sword pavilion mark on him, the senior's primordial spirit couldn't do anything to him, and the disgusting tone made him speechless. There are countless avenues, and the same is true of kendo, and there is not only one way to go." Guyao also talked about his experience on the way to Lingyun sect, including the lesson of Zhang Changan, and the conflict between Kai's mother and Zhong Zheyu after entering the section. Although these situations will disturb them at the moment atmosphere, but Lingyunzong is close at hand, Chi Changjai has to face these realities after returning home. Chi Changjai sneered, "I think my news has already been passed back soon, and this time it will be that person who is unwilling to face me, Bai Jing, Laozi Yaoi being left behind by his son, this is very bad for his self-esteem. It's a great blow, and his son, he doesn't dare to come out and jump up at the moment, because he is worried that I will ask them to settle old accounts. Chi Changjai clearly recognizes the reality of this world, that is, respecting strength, all conspiracies and tricks can't play a big role in the face of absolute strength, so it is not him who is uncomfortable now, but the father and son and the people on Yueyang Peak. As for the members of the Wang family, it's okay if they don't come out. Even if they jump out, he is not someone who can't fight back now. Elder Wang really wants to take action, and he will not be the one who will be embarrassed at that time. Besides, with his current achievements in the sect master and other elders will not sit back and watch Elder Wang take action. Lingyun sect is really not a place where Elder Wang can cover the sky with one hand. His current strength is enough to give him a certain right to speak in Lingyunzong. As Chi Changjai said, the father and son Zhong Zhayu and Zhong Changan were the ones who couldn't stand the blow. Zhong Changan hurried back to the sect, and spent a lot of spirit stones to use the teleportation array. The dragon boat came back before and told Zhong Zhayu about the situation of Chi Changjai as soon as possible. Before Zhong Zhayu saw his son, he had received a lot of citations, and he didn't have the heart to tell if there were any gloating people watching a good show. There was only one voice in his mind, that wicked son of his is back. Not to mention that the wicked son obtained the inheritance of the sword pavilion, the cultivation base has also advanced to the nascent soul. Yuan Yang Dachan. His first reaction was that it was impossible. The vague unease in the face of this praised swordsman genius finally became a reality on this day. This son returned to the sect with such a high-profile attitude. He will be crushed by the sun for the rest of his life. Transmigration, First-Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 335. Only some of the disciples went to the demon realm of death, and there were many others who stayed in the section. Zhong Zhayu only went out once and met several nascent soul disciples, congratulating him, saying that he had such an outstanding son. The taste in Zhong Zhayu's heart was similar to eating shit, but he had to keep his demeanor and smile on his face, and said a few words of humility. Since then, Zhong Zhayu has never left his mountain. Zhong Changhan's situation was even worse. When he came back, he was discovered by the disciples in the section. When he contacted the news, how could those disciples not understand his panic and sneered at it? No matter where Zhong Changan went, you can see the sarcasm of Chi Kuakuo in the eyes of others. However, he was called over by Elder Wang and Father Wang. Wang Yuzhu stayed with him. Why did Wang Yuzhu suffer unexpectedly? Zhong Changan came back alive and kicking. Elder Wang could still hold his breath, but Father Wang hated it extremely. For this son, he even gave up Tianchen Den before, but the son was still gone. Chi Changjai and Gu Yao stood on the dragon boat, and they were about to reach Lingyunzong. Chi Changjai was a little excited, and he finally came back. Although the time spent outside was much longer than in Lingyunzong, Lingyunzong was just like his roots. Seeing the familiar scenery was so kind. He pointed to Gu Yao somewhere below. He used to go to experience training pass. There are other disciples passing by from time to time, and they all respectfully call him senior or uncle. Now Chi Changjai's identity is very different from the original. Soon the dragon boat arrived in the Lingyun zone block, and the return of the dragon boat attracted countless disciples to run out to watch. At the same time, the name of Chi Changjai also spread inside and outside the sect. In fact, the name Chi Changjai is very unfamiliar to the middle and low-level disciples. Although he was a genius back then, he was a disciple of the same generation back then. After nearly 50 years, he gradually left him behind. The disciples who followed the entry were also talented disciples of the same generation. In fact, the most important thing for such a large sect of Lingyun sect is the talented disciples. From ancient times to the present, I don't know how many disciples with such titles have been drowned in the long river of time and have become silent. Speaking that Uncle Chi Changjai doesn't know, then Yayun, the genius swordsman of Qinghong sword sect, should know, but when Yaoi was defeated in front of Uncle Changjai, he couldn't fight back at all. Nian disappeared, otherwise there would be no chance for Yaoi to become so famous. Speaking of Uncle Changjai, it's a long story. It has to start with the grievances between Uncle Chibo and Uncle Zhongzheyu. Speaking of that year, let's not talk about Yayun. He was a disciple of the same generation as Uncle Changjai, and now the most outstanding one is just Ningying. This is also a genius in our sect, and the others are still in the golden core stage, I think. How easy is it to condense the infant, let alone the Uncle Changjai who did not rely on the resources of the sect to grow up to nascent soul. In my opinion, the Uncle Changjai will be the youngest elder of our Lingyun sect in the future. I heard that Uncle Changjai and the ancient alchemist who recently joined our sect are Taoist partners. Is it true? Then the ancient alchemist is very lucky. Come on, it's because of the common suffering. Besides, the ancient alchemist is not bad. This trip to the sword pavilion, the ancient alchemist has made great contributions. In the sect, is it the same as Chi Changjai? There are still many disciples in this generation, including those who are relatively close to Chi Changjai. When I heard this news, my mood was even more complicated. At the beginning, the light of Chi Changjai alone set them off. When they came back 10 years later, the light became even stronger, making them embarrassed to mention that they were of the same generation as Chi Changjai. Xian's Haiqian watched the dragon boat fly over in the sky, and then heard other people's comments. Her mood was very complicated. The man had been missing for so many years, and he thought he was dead, but he came back. Senior sister, are you all right? Yao Tao walked to Xian Longqian's side and asked worriedly, are those things true? And that person found a male cultivator to form a Taoist partner? Stop talking, Xian's Haiqian interrupted Yao Tao's words violently. At the beginning, I was just a little bit fond of senior brother, that was because he wanted to save my life, but senior brother is devoted to cultivation and has no distractions, so I also respect him as a senior brother, and now the status is very different. Don't mention those things in the past. Yao Tao sighed for senior sister in her heart. At the beginning, senior sister had a good impression of senior brother Changjai, but senior brother Changjai seemed to have no idea. Senior sister was pursued by senior brother Tang, and the two gradually came together. Later senior brother Changjai disappeared, and they were somewhat fortunate in their hearts. Yes, if senior sister and senior brother Changjai got together at that time, how would senior sister deal with herself after others disappeared? But Yao Tao didn't expect that after senior brother Chang Ye disappeared, senior sister and senior brother Tang separated and merged, and Jing also embarked on the old path of senior uncle Qi Xian and senior uncle Zhongzheyu. Pull away, senior brother Tang. No, Master Tang gradually has other women by his side, senior sister is stronger, and they are completely separated. If senior sister hadn't given up and accepted senior brother Tang's pursuit, wouldn't the situation today be different? Xian's Haiqian didn't want to see the sympathetic eyes in other people's eyes, so she said goodbye to Yao Tao and hurriedly went to her own cave. Staying outside, she could only see the dazzling achievements of her peers in the past. The same delicate Tang Xiao. Haiqian has seen Uncle Miao. Xian's Haiqian bowed and wanted to turn around and leave. The existence of this person always reminds her of the past. Now that I think about it, she gave up the pursuit of senior brother Changjai, and Qi Xian also disappeared. The reason was that her disappearance made the situation of senior brother Changjai difficult, and the family behind Tang Xiao had a great ancestor of nascent soul. Tang Xiao's great hospitality gave her the best excuse. Haiqian Tang Xiao subconsciously called out to this woman who was still beautiful. What's the matter? Xian's Haiqian turned to look at Tang Xiao and asked. Tang Xiao's expression was a little dazed, and he wanted to talk about something. Did you hear that? Chi Chang'ai is back, and he is now called Chi Chang'ai. Naturally know that the sect has spread all over the section. The senior brothers of the day have now become uncles, and it is Haikian who is incompetent. Qian's Haikian said in a light voice. Don't you want to go to him? Tang Xiao asked hesitantly. A blushing of anger appeared on Qian's Haikian's face. Tang Xiao, who do you think of me? Master Chang'ai now has a Taoist companion. In what capacity do I find him? Besides, Master Chang'ai only had a sword in his heart at the time, and he didn't care about other teachers. Brothers and sisters are treated equally, and at the beginning I was self-indulgent and self-righteous. Farewell. After speaking, Qian's Haikian flew away with a flick of her sleeves. The self-confidence in her beauty in the early years has faded away in the tempering of these years. Without cultivation and strength, no matter how beautiful her face is, she will grow old one day. Today, she would like to have one. Ri Neng is like Uncle Qi Xian. Tang Xiao's face also turned a little red. At the beginning, he regarded Chi Chang'ai as a competitor, and there was a reason why he would pursue Qian's Haikian. After this person disappeared, he was still complacent for a long time, but now this person is back, even higher and farther than him. In comparison, his early nascent soul cultivator was much inferior, but Qian's Haikian might be right about one thing, that is, in the eyes of Chi Chang'ai, he might be no different from other disciples of the same generation. Chi Chang'ai really didn't have a deep impression on the disciples of the same generation, not as good as his mother's friends, because after Chi Xian disappeared, he took care of Chi Chang'ai, and Chi Chang'ai remembered these affections. However, just after returning to the sect, he was busy moving with Guyao. He is a cultivator of nascent soul Dachan, and he can monopolize a main peak, but he does not want to develop his own power. He came out of Jianfeng and wants to belong to Jianfeng. Under the final compromise, in the middle of the three positions of Jianfeng, Fufeng, and Dangxia Peak, Zongmen Dali moved him to a mountain, and penetrated into the spiritual vein. The aura on the mountain is no worse than other main peaks. How much? It's just a little bit smaller, but it's enough for him and Guyao to live. Guyao didn't expect Zongmen to be so bold. Others are moving houses, they are moving mountains here, and the Zongmen's contribution points are rewarded to them, so that Guyao suddenly tasted the taste of sudden wealth, or the shotgun was replaced by a cannon. A little unreal feeling. Not only that, as soon as the mountain was settled, the same sect continued to come to congratulate and give gifts. It was not only moving to a new house, but also becoming a Taoist partner, and whether it was Chi Chang'ai or nascent soul Dachan cultivator, it was all worthy of those nascent soul cultivators in the sect to come and run. He went back and sent a modest congratulatory gift, but this time, Guyao received the gift softly. Originally in Dan? Feng moved in with Guyao's 4 disciples, just to help with these trivial tasks. The 4 of them were very excited. How could they expect such a reversal? The original sympathy for them suddenly turned into envy and jealousy. If the disciples are arranged to go to the ancient alchemist's side at this time, where will they get them, and they will not be robbed? Senior Sister Li also brought a group of disciples to clean up the mountain. Some of the original green plants do not need to be moved, but some spiritual fields need to be opened up, because Guyao is an alchemist, and this trip to Jianzhou also revealed that he is cultivating spiritual grass. The above are also extremely talented, so Lingtian is indispensable, not the 4 of them can do it, so many disciples were transferred from other places to help. Guyao and Chi Chang'ai flew by in the air, followed by Qi Xian and several disciples. Others saw it and asked, "Uncle Li, what are they doing with Alchemist Gu?" Senior Sister Li smiled and said, "That's Master Gu and Master Changya helping Master Qi Xian to move, and Master Qi Xian also moved to our mountain. By the way, our mountain will be called Gu Chi Peak in the future. But don't forget." The disciples who knew Chi Chang'ai's temperament in the past couldn't help shivering. After so many years, Chi Changjai seemed to have changed his temperament. He didn't expect to show affection so sticky. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 336. The spiritual energy on Gucci Peak is stronger than that of Bomu Peak. Although it is not as good as the main B, other aspects are arranged according to the main peak, so whether Guyao or Chi Changjai, I hope Chi Xian will stay in Gucci Peak. Chi Xian herself did not expect to experience such a change in a short period of time, and she also received her old friends on Gucci Peak. When she first returned to Lingyunzang, she had investigated what happened during her absence. She still kept in mind the help given by some friends. As for those who stood by, although they were not obliged to help Chi Changjai, this sentiment was also important. It faded away, and for those who fell into trouble, Chi Changjai's current status was enough to make them tremble with fear. There is also the Chi family, which has become more honest and obedient now. Although the patriarch could not enter the Lingyun sect, he still prepared a generous gift for the children of the Chi family in the Lingyun sect to send it. The clansmen who turned to Zhongzhou at the beginning were full of regrets. How could they have thought that when the mother and son would turn over, and they were still so strong, they offended people? It was a female disciple who came to present the gift. Guyao felt a little familiar when he saw it. After thinking about it for a while, he remembered where he had seen it before. It was not one of the two Chi family disciples he had met in the collection pavilion of Dangxia Peak before. Member, and this one's position is on the side of Chi Xian. Shifan is also here. Guyao told Chi Changjai before that this time he can successfully break through to the middle stage of nascent soul, thanks to the celestial marrow spiritual liquid presented by Shifan, so Chi Changjai and Chi Xian both let go of what they were doing. He was warmly received. Shifan looked at Chi Changjai today, and remembered the young man who had just started drinking with him back then, but now he has become much calmer and more mature. At the same time, he feels that he is old and has lost his enterprising spirit. A junior caught up. "Okay, you are a good boy, and the Taoist companions are also good," he said. Chi Changjai's eyes are better than his mother's. Shifan patted Chi Changjai's shoulder with a smile. "I'll drink together another day. Now you and Gu Alchemist go and entertain other guests, and I'll talk to other old friends." Chi Changjai smiled free and easy. "Okay, I brought some spirit wines from other places. Although it may not be comparable to the wine that Shi Lao is used to drinking, it also has a different flavor." "Okay, okay. It seems you are still thinking about my old man." Shifan laughed. "Uncle Changjai, Master Gu, and Zifeng Peak are here," the disciple came in to announce, causing the laughter in the room to stagnate for a moment. "What should come will always come." Chi Changjai calmly comforted his mother and Guyao, and said, "Mother, Xiaoao and I went out to receive, and here is my mother's greeting." Chi Xian's eyes flashed. She nodded, and said, "Yes, you can go to work, don't worry about it here." The three Yinhua were also on the spot. They were left as guests at Gucci Peak by Guyao and Chi Changjai. Chi Changjai still has this power now. It happened that Yinhua also wanted to see the scenery of Lingyun sect, and heard the words of Zixiao Peak. He lowered his head and drank tea, without even raising his eyes, as if he had nothing to do with him, and stayed under the eyes of others in a grand manner. Chi Changjai and Guyao glanced at each other and walked out together. In the eyes of others, how pleasing these two were standing together. Although Guyao's cultivation is a little weaker than Chi Changjai, but because of the demon-devouring plant, Guyao's position in Dangxia Peak has been stabilized a lot. It can be said that he has the support of Dangxia Peak behind him, so he does not appear to be very weak. The two are a strong union. As soon as I came out, I heard someone laughing loudly. "Shen Mao, please call me junior brother Chi. On behalf of me, Zixiao Feng congratulates me on this trip." The person who came was the peak master of Zixiao Peak, the eldest disciple of Elder Wang. Although Father Wang was the son of Elder Wang, Zixiao Peak was taken over by his eldest disciple. Even if Father Wang was dissatisfied, his cultivation was if you can't go up, you can't satisfy the entire Zixiao Peak. Peak Master Shen didn't come alone, he was followed by Father Wang, looking at Qi Changjai and Guyao with gloomy eyes, especially the latter, who seemed to have deep hatred. Qi Changjai cupped his hands and said, "Senior brother Shen is very polite, senior brother Shen is a senior, Chang Ye is just a backward boy. There are still many things to ask senior brother Shen for advice in the future." Haha, easy to say, easy to say. Senior brother Shen, please come in and have a cup of tea. Qi Changjai and Guyao were still polite to this peak master Shen, but they didn't give a wink to Father Wang on the other side. Just as peak master Shen was about to take a step, he followed Qi Changjai and Guyao in, and Father Wang couldn't wait to jump out and wait. "I have something to ask Alchemist Gu." "Oh? What?" Guyao asked with raised eyebrows. Junior brother, Peak Lord Shen frowned slightly, wanting to hug Father Wang. Wang's father didn't care, his son died, and his death was unclear, and he was not allowed to find out. Father Wang walked in front of Guyao, looked at Guyao carefully, and found that it was exactly the same as what Zhong Changan said, somewhat similar to the monk on the reward order, and even more convinced of the thoughts in his heart. He asked, "Jade, does Bamboo's death have anything to do with you? Did you kill Yuzhu?" "Junior brother," Shen Fengzhi shouted again. Did junior brother Wang think about the consequences of asking these words? Not to mention the late long night, even Guyao also made a contribution to the trip to the Jianzhi, and now he ran out to ask the people who contributed to the sect master, where did they put the sect? If it weren't for the presence of master, just with this rude question, Qi Changjai and Guyao would have completely knocked him out of Guqi Peak. "Het." Qi Changjai sneered, "Did you mean Wang Yuzhu? So Wang Yuzhu died? It's a pity, someone late came back and wanted to find Wang Yuzhu to settle the old account, so he died like this." Back then, Zhong Changha asked Wang Yuzhu to be his backer, and Wang Yuzhu relied on his grandfather's power to transform the gods and suppressed him. A lot others just came. It's dark, but Wang Yuzhu has been suppressed in an upright and fair manner. He was only just consummating elixir, and it is not surprising that Jindan disciples are in the section. Others would offend the grandson of the elder of the gods for his little Jindan disciple. "Who is Wang Yuzhu? Why should I kill him?" Guyao chuckled. "Of course it's because..." Father Wang wanted to tell the truth without even thinking about it, but he was stuck in his throat halfway through, because the threatening eyes of Shen Fengzhi looked at it, and those reasons were not visible at all. Even Elder Wang was so tired that his face was dull. Because of what? Qi Changjai's icy gaze pierced over, seeing Father Wang's heart tremble, and relying on Elder Wang's courage, he couldn't get up. With his general knowledge, he will not use his cultivation to suppress him. But when Qi Changjai thought of what his mother said to him, he wanted to take Wang Yuzhu's life with his own hands. Guyao said it lightly to him. Qi Changjai only wanted to erase this hidden danger because of his uncle, because he really did it. The person is also Zhou Hu. Because of what? We also want to hear, why is Wang Yuzhu's death related to Master Ancient Alchemy? Didn't it have something to do with Luo Shengtang, who entered the demon realm of death without permission and died under the claws of the demon beasts? Shi Fan and the others waited to leave the room when I came out. There were still several people from the main peak here, and there was no prohibition to block the formation, so it was easy to hear the sound outside. They thought it was extremely ridiculous. Guyao, an alchemist who only haunts Dangxia Peak, has the need to deliberately plot against Wang Yuzhu? Because. Father Wang's face flushed red. "Shut up," Peak Master Shen couldn't bear to cut off Father Wang, and turned to look at you and Qi Changjai and Guyao apologetically. Junior brother Wang said some nonsense because of the matter of junior and nephew. "Alchemist Gu, don't take offense," Shen Mao will take him back to Xiao Peak first, and come back to accompany him another day. Peak Master Shen directly sealed Father Wang's mouth with his spiritual power, preventing him from saying any more surprising words, then pulled him and flew out of Guqi Peak, handing over Qi Changjai and Gu Yao Yao in the air, and then flew away far. Shi Fan complained, "What's wrong with this surnamed Wang?" He ran over and said something inexplicable, asking me to tell me that the air is much cleaner without such a small beast in Xiao Peak. Even if Elder Wang stood here, he dared to say these words. That little beast did so many things. It was not because of Elder Wang's power, but it was Elder Wang who gave him the courage and unscrupulousness. Everyone, I've disturbed everyone's interest. It has nothing to do with junior brother Qi, senior brother, and alchemist Gu should not have the general knowledge of these people. After these people left, this matter still spread among the nascent soul monks. As far as they knew, Luo Shentang had been suppressed by this matter and had withdrawn from Lingyuan sect's territory. The Hall Master also seems to be alive and dead, and some people speculate whether it is Elder Wang who made a move. It's no exaggeration for Luo Shentang to end up like this. He dared to jump on the Lingyuan sect's territory and attack the disciples of the Lingyuan section. It was justifiable to be expelled. They thought that Wang Yuzhi's death would end everywhere, but they didn't expect that there would be a follow-up. How is it related to alchemist Gu Yao? Some people think of Wang Yuzhi's cold and unpretentious hobby. Could it be that when he went to the demon realm of death, Wang Yuzhi took a look at the alchemist Gu Yao and got his idea? If I think about it, it is really possible, especially since Gu Yao had just entered the Lingyuan sect at that time, but he had no background and backing. If Wang Yuzhi wanted to do it, it was not impossible for him to succeed. Tear. This speculation made some nascent soul cultivators gasp. At that time, Gu Yao was weak, but after Qi Changjai returned to the sect, the situation was greatly reversed. Even Gu Yao himself used the devil-devouring plant to consolidate his position in the section at this time. Looking at the color heart that Wang Yuzhi's boy gave birth to, he really ate the guts of a leopard. If this is the reason, Wang Yuzhi's death is not wrong. Even if he doesn't die this time, his actions will no longer be restrained, which will be the result sooner or later. After Peak Master Shen and Father Wang returned to Xiao Peak, they had a big quarrel. Father Wang blamed Peak Master Shen for not avenging his son. Denying it, Peak Lord Shen is also very happy. Do you really think that such a thing is worth showing off? Xiao Peak's reputation is bad enough because of Wang Yuzhi's existence, and because of the existence of junior brother Wang, his Peak Master is somewhat unworthy of his name, and he feels aggrieved. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 337. When the guests left, Qi Changjai and Gu Yao temporarily sealed Guqi Peak, claiming that they would prepare for the battle. The large-scale formation surrounds the entire mountain. From the outside, you can only feel the clouds and mists, you can't see the scenery inside, and you can't enter the mountain. Qi Changjai did not retreat, but walked hand in hand with Gu Yao on the mountain path. I was swept away by the spiritual consciousness of the spiritual cultivator before. Needless to say, it is the Elder Wang. It seems that the identities of the uncle and the others can't be hidden. Both Qi Changjai and Gu Yao sensed a sense of consciousness. This person relied on the cultivation of the gods, thinking that no one could detect Gu Qifeng, but unfortunately Gu Yao's consciousness is special, and Qi Changjai has also taken the medicinal elixir that Gu Yao has refined over the years that is beneficial to the consciousness and soul. Spiritual consciousness cultivation is not weak, although it cannot accurately capture that divine consciousness, but it is still possible to perceive its existence. He won't do it, Qi Changjai said lightly. He has this confidence now, he has no reason to do it, even if the identity of his uncle is exposed, but he has no evidence to prove that Wang Yuzhi died at the hands of his uncle, and the previous reward order is also it's already gone. In the sect, he has no reason to do anything, and he left the sect. Qi Changjai sneered. he will know that now I am not being slaughtered by Qi Changjai. Gu Yao thought for a while and said, I don't have to hide my alchemy skills now, I think I can add more weight. He didn't believe that, based on his and Qi Changjai's position, he couldn't compete with Elder Wang alone. Although Elder Wang was a powerful god, it wouldn't take long for Qi Changjai to leave the god, and he was confident that his alchemy skills would also it won't make people give up easily. Compared with Elder Wang, in fact, he and Qi Changjai have more promising future potential, and the advantage is not necessarily on Elder Wang's side. When the forest is big, there will be all kinds of birds. Alike Wang Yuzhu can also live well in Lingyun section. There are also many injustices in places they can't see, just like what happened to Qi Changjai back then. In this large sect with tens of millions of disciples, such a situation is too sparse and common. At the root, this is still a place where the weak eat the strong. If you have strength, you have a great say in the sect. But it can't be said that Lingyunzang is useless. In Jianzhi, if there is not Lingyunzang, how can Qi Changjai escape and leave safely? What he enjoys is the protection of the section as a disciple of Lingyun sect. He can also enjoy a number of training resources and secret realms of trials in Lingyun sect. Qi Changjai kissed Gu Yao's forehead. With me here, you don't have to hide yourself anymore. Everyone should see the light of Gu Yao. He is not standing behind him. On the contrary, he can have today's achievements thanks to Gu Yao's many achievements. Gu Yao's value and significance to the sect are far greater than he. Gu Yao smiled. In fact, he didn't care about these reputations. At this time, a message came in, and Qi Changjai raised his eyes slightly and said, it's the Qi family that has moved. How do you say? Gu Yao didn't have a good opinion of this family. At the beginning, because of the disappearance of Kai's mother, he chose to abandon Qi Changjai and turn to Zhong Zheyu and Zhong Changan and his son. This approach is really disgusting. His mother and Qi Changjai were here, and Gu Yao didn't do anything, but that didn't mean that he felt comfortable. Qi Changjai sneered, the patriarch exiled the tribe to a remote place, can they survive to see their own? Now not only him, but also the mother Kai's feelings for the Qi family have faded. No matter who you choose at the beginning, the last thing the Qi family should choose is Zhongzhao, Yu Zhong Changan and his son. After realizing it, he could not help but ask for the talisman inherited by the patriarch. At that time, Mother Qi couldn't do anything further. At that time, she was only in the middle stage of nascent soul, and the Qi family was guarded by an ancestor who lived in the late stage of nascent soul, so she couldn't completely fall out. Fuda was the Qi family to her. Compensate. But this time, when Qi Changjai came back, it was different. It was a test to bring gifts to Gu Qi Peak, but unfortunately Qi Changjai was not enthusiastic about the people from the Qi family, which made them realize Qi Changjai's attitude and quickly cut their tails to survive. It's a pity that their inaction made Qi Changjai less affectionate towards them. Originally, he was born in the sect, and his affection for the Qi family is far less than that of Kai's mother. On the other side, Lord Shen came to his master, Elder Wang, and reported the scene of going to Gu Qi Peak and his speculation. The disciple thinks that the uncle of the ancient alchemist is the monk who was put on the bounty at the beginning, and the monk Zhou who was with him is the devil. A sky spider. Although Feng Zhishen didn't say it, he believed that Wang Yuzhi died in the calculations of Yinhua, Zhouhu, and Zhouhu. Of course, Gu Yao's cooperation was indispensable, but even if these things were made public, Elder Wang would not occupy them. Advantageous position. It is really disgusting that Wang Yuzhi did those things. He actually hit Gu alchemist's idea, trying to capture Gu Yao and imprisoned at that moment. Peak Master Shen said in his heart, fortunately it didn't work out, otherwise Qi Changjai would come back to investigate the matter, and it would not be difficult to find Wang Yuzhi's head, and he would definitely make a big noise at Zixiao Peak. With his master, he could really suppress it. This also involves the sword pavilion. so the sect master and other elders may not necessarily stand on the master's side. You said, I just let the teacher go and don't pursue it like this? Don't others think I'm afraid of the two juniors? Elder Wang lowered his eyebrows and could not see the change in his expression. Disciples think it's better to take a long-term view, and wait until the day they leave the sect before taking action, otherwise the sect master will not be able to pass the test. He could see that the sect master and Bailey elders were very concerned about Chi Changjai. The sect master, although he seems to have a good temper, after so many years, he has held the position of sect master firmly, and no one can shake it. He is also nascent soul Dachan, but he can't see through the strength of the sect master. He is like nascent soul Dachan, and he is like a god. In short, it is very mysterious. Elder Wang sighed, waved his hand and said, go down first. Yes, master. Gu Chifeng was so lively before, which made Yuanyangfeng so deserted that even the disciples of Yuanyangfeng were reluctant to run out, otherwise they would always hear others deliberately mention what happened to Chi Changjai. In private, he also complained a lot, speaking of which, it's all my fault for senior brother Shen. It's not that he made the relationship so stiff with senior uncle Changjai, and we shouldn't even be able to show our faces. Otherwise, on Goka Peak that day, it should be a good time for their Yuanyang Peak disciples to show their limelight, complaining about Zhong Changan on the lips, and complaining more about Zhong Zayu's unfairness in his heart. He will have such a future. Yuan Da's son pushed him away, favoring the other son who couldn't do anything. To put it bluntly, they really thought that Zhong Zayu's eyes were blind, otherwise how could they not see which one was better? At the beginning, Uncle Qi Xian also pushed it away with his own hands. Otherwise, Yu Yangfeng could be upgraded to the main peak, so that he could enjoy more sect resources, and he didn't have to look at Gu Chifeng with jealousy like now. Zhong Changan is now drunk on Yuanyang Peak all day long, and all the disciples who dared to approach him are scolded and run away by him. Zhong Zayu came over and took a look, knowing that this son was completely useless. Qualification is not the best, and now it's a bit worse. Thinking of the dazzling light of the evil sun, Zhong Zayu only felt a fire in his heart, and maybe he would burn himself one day. Uncle Master, the disciples on the side were all cautious. Don't worry about him, if he wants to drink, bring him wine, send the order, close Yuanyang Peak, I want to retreat, I won't unblock it if I don't go out. The disciple was slightly startled, but he also led the order away. Instead of going out to suffer, people sneered, it is better to retreat and isolate the outside world. Maybe in a few years or more, the situation will be another situation. This mountain closure order has been passed down, causing the disciples of Yuanyang Peak to be eager to move. After the closure, they will not be able to enter or leave Yuanyang Peak. Some disciples made up their minds to leave Yu Yangfeng, but those monks who became Yu Zayu's named disciples were unable to clear the relationship, and in the end they could only go silent with Zhong Zayu. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, the deadline agreed with Yan Yuanjing arrived. Chi Changjai lifted Gu Chifeng's ban one day in advance, and I heard people talk about Yu Yangfeng's situation. Chi Changjai's eyes flashed with coldness. It's good that the person doesn't come out, it's a big taboo in the world of self-cultivation, but Chi Changjai also knows that that person will never want to become in this life, unless he has way to break his demons. Just because he couldn't do anything to that person didn't mean he couldn't do anything to Zhong Changha. It was very easy to deal with him quietly. He would wait patiently for the best time. Lingyuan City has been very lively recently, because Chi Changjai and another sword cultivator are about to start a battle. The brilliance of this battle was beyond doubt, and the identity of another sword cultivator also made the cultivators curious, because that was the person who obtained the inheritance of the senior crazy sword demon. How could it be that senior crazy sword demon could see it? Is it a general sword repairer? Everyone thinks that the sword cultivator should be the same as senior crazy sword demon. Lingyuan sect was also very lively. Sect Master Yuan entertained a lot of guests, all of whom wanted to wait and watch the battle. What made him most helpless was that Palace Master Yin of Wuji Palace actually came in person. Now, Sect Master Yuan suspects that after leaving the demon realm of death, this guy probably didn't go back to the Promise Palace and came here directly. Qi Changjai ordered him to go down in advance, and once Yan Yuanjing arrived, he would lead him to the place of the battle. The next day just after the sun came out, Yan Yuanjing, dressed in black, appeared in front of the gate of Lingyunzang Mountain. The disciple who guarded the gate saw that it was the person in the order, and immediately greeted him respectfully and politely led the person to the door. Specific location. Qi Changjai rushed over with Gu Yao unhurriedly. Most of Gu Chifeng's people came, including Qi Xian, Yin Hua, and others, to cheer for Qi Changjai. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 338. Lingyuan sect opened the mountain gate today, and other sects and some loose cultivators can also enter to watch. Many disciples of Lingyuan sect have come here. They can hear people talking about Qi Changjai everywhere this month. They also want to know how strong this former genius is and how high his swordsmanship is. Not to mention, the peak master of Jianfeng ordered all the disciples of this peak to watch it. At first, the peak master of Jianfeng intended to accept Qi Changjai as a direct disciple, but unexpectedly, something happened to him. Now the peak master of Jianfeng knows that he is no longer qualified to accept Qi Changjai as his disciple. After decades, he has stood at the same height as himself, and he has gained a chance in the sword pavilion. In the future, he will walk faster and higher than himself. The other three major sects and the Demon Alliance also came to many monks, and the disciples of Qinghong Jianmen came with critical eyes, including Yayun, who lost to Qi Changjai, even though he was very upset. Convinced, but who made him lose to Qi Changjai decades ago, this breath can only be swallowed, but who is the black-clothed swordsman? He went for the inheritance of Senior Crazy Sword Demon. Who would have expected it to fall into the hands of such a nameless cultivator, not to mention being aggrieved? So he wanted to come and see, what qualifications does this guy have for inheritance, and what points he has over himself in swordsmanship. Can't find out the origin of the sword repair. It's not completely undetectable, but there are still traces to be found. He should have come from the same place as Qi Changjai. Didn't Qi Changjai fall into the crack of space before and went to other continents? Presumably the two of them are there. Those who get acquainted, who can make Qi Changjai an opponent, must not be bad. You must know that after Yayun was defeated by Qi Changjai, he never let Qi Changjai take a high look at him. To this nameless sword cultivator, Qi Changjai decided that he was suitable for the inheritance of the Mad Sword Demon Senior. In the distance, Qi Changjai and Gu Yao joined hands. Yan Yuanjing, who was standing there with his eyes closed, opened his eyes immediately, and two sword lights passed by, looking so amazing. Qi Changjai floated by, clasped his fists and said, "Fellow Daoist Yan, I have kept you waiting for a long time." "No, that's right, are you ready?" "Ready." As soon as Qi Changjai's voice fell, countless sword chi burst out around the two of them, and the spirit chi was pounding and banging. Originally, everyone thought that the two would talk for a while, but Jianqiu Baijing is a sword qiu, so it is far better to let them talk than to do it. Everyone also discovered that in terms of cultivation, Qi Changjai is higher than Yan Yuanjing, but when he fought against Yan Yuanjing, Qi Changjai just pressed his cultivation to the same level as Yan Yuanjing, and did not occupy the opponent's cultivation. Inexpensive, the two are purely competing for swordsmanship. There was a sound of Jinji clashing in the air. In a short period of time, the two fought each other for an unknown number of moves. The cultivator with a weak cultivation base could not keep up with the eyesight. He could only see the two phantoms in the air dividing and closing, but apart from the cultivation base, those who are better than the two of them, who dares to use their divine sense to watch, they will be crushed by the sword energy around them. Sect Master Yuan accompanied Palace Master Yin to watch the scene, but the two were hidden above the cloud head and did not show up. Palace Master Yin looked at Yan Yuanjing's ruthlessness with admiration, and said, "No wonder Senior Crazy Sword Demon chose this, the heir of the Lord. He was born to follow the path of the Mad Sword Demon Senior, so he should come to our Wuji Palace to follow the path of the devil. In Kendo, he is much purer than this kid from your section. He only sees the sword and nothing else." Sect Master Yuan didn't feel that Qi Changjai was belittled at all. He smiled and said, "I have observed him when Changye was in the section. His advantage lies in his comprehension, and his thorough understanding of Kendo is rare. Coupled with his spiritual talent, I am not surprised that he has come this far." Palace Master Yin's teeth were itchy when he heard it. Sect Master Yuan was showing off to him. He had no shortage of comprehension and Lingon talent. How come there is no such disciple in Wuji Palace? Not only the two of them were watching, but the elders of Lingyunzong who did not retreat were also watching this duel with their spiritual sense. Shinzaiyu, who announced the closure of the mountain to the outside world, used magic to condense the water mirror in front of him. The water mirror was the scene of a duel. As the two fought more and more fiercely, the water mirror image also shook, like if he wants to collapse at any time. Zhongzayu's face will become more and more ugly. The strength of this villain is too much beyond his expectations, and he is no match for Qi Changjai alone. With a bang, the water mirror shattered and splashed. It was not Zhongzayu's own destruction, but his strength could no longer support the extremely destructive sword energy. Wow, the tables and chairs in the room were all smashed into pieces by spiritual power. Elder Wang and his eldest disciple Shen Fengju were also watching in front of the water mirror. The water mirror in front of them was much more stable than that of Zhongzaiyu. When they saw the two fighting fiercely, fine black cracks appeared around their bodies. The face is not very good looking. Master, is Qi Changjai really pushing his cultivation to the bottom? Just based on the strength they have shown, they are far beyond the late nascent soul. They can see that Yan Yuanjing's cultivation is in the middle of the nascent soul. Between the late nascent soul and Yuan Ying, it is very obvious that both of them can challenge by leaps and bounds. No wonder Yan Yuanjing is favored by the crazy sword demon. It's been suppressed. This child should not be underestimated. I'm afraid that he can't be suppressed. Elder Wang originally thought that his ability to transform into a could suppress this younger boy, but his growth rate was too fast. Elder Wang originally thought that genius was nothing special. How many days would it take to have the last laugh? He has come this way. How many days has he been left behind by him? His aptitude is not outstanding, but he can transform into a god. In fact, Feng Jishen didn't want the master to make a fuss about Wang Yuzhu's matter, causing the sect master to have a quarrel with them. Conditions, this time Wang Yuzhu. When he died, the sect master didn't say anything at all. Maybe he still felt that he died just right. Yan Yuanjing and Qi Changjai fought for 3 days and 3 nights without stopping. The two of them fought more and more excitedly and showed their swordsmanship to the fullest. Although Yan Yuanjing was in the process of constantly digesting and absorbing the inheritance of the demon sword demon predecessors, his swordsmanship was constantly improving, but when he was stronger, he became stronger, and Qi Changjai's performance did not disappoint everyone. None of the monks who were watching left, but because the destructive power of their sword Qi was too strong, they had to retreat back and forth. This was still under the circumstance that Sect Master Yuan and others came forward to set up a defensive ban. The two fiercely fought. The collision of sword Qi can shock the prohibition set by the Yuan sect master to the verge of collapse. Jianfeng's Jiangziu was very engaged and excited, because Qi Changjai walked out of their Jianfeng and laid the foundation on their Jianfeng. The mood of the disciples of Qinghong sword sect was much more complicated. On the one hand, I have to admit that both of them are very skilled in swordsmanship. To put it bluntly, even their sect master may not be able to beat these two, let alone senior brother Yayun and senior uncle. On the other hand, I feel that I can't hold my face. Qinghong Jianmen Xiang comes from the Holy Land of sword cultivators. A comprehensive sect such as Lingyunzan cannot cultivate the best sword cultivators. Qi Changjai is just an accident. Jianmen might be even more brilliant. But now these two are not from Qinghong Jianmen, which makes them yearn for this kind of swordsmanship and feel that their faces are dull, which is too shocking. Ye Yun's fists were clenched tightly. Not only was he inferior to Qi Changjai, but he was also a lot worse than this nameless sword cultivator. Perhaps it was because he didn't get the inheritance of the mad sword demon senior? Maybe if he gets a good inheritance, he can also make a qualitative leap. But it will take 40 years for the next Jianj to open. After 40 years, how far will these two grow? He can't sit still, and after this duel is over, he will go out to practice and find his own chance. Yan Yuanjing pointed at fellow Daoist Qi with his long sword. There is no way to compare the results of this competition. Let me see how high your understanding of swordsmanship is. Qi Changjai stretched out his hand, and the purple thunder sword turned into a purple thunder dragon and swam around him, so be careful. As soon as Qi Changjai grasped the hilt of the sword, he lifted his foot and took a few steps out in the air, but the distance between him and Yan Yuanjing quickly narrowed. Yan Yuanjing's heart was alarmed, and he saw the threat in Qi Changjai's eyes. Seeing Qi Changjai swinging his sword and slashing forward gently, his movements seemed to have been slowed down countless times, and even a weak cultivator could see the sword clearly, but Sect Master Yuan and Palace Master Yin widened their eyes. Surprise flashed in the Lord's eyes. Qi Changjai actually reached this stage. With a minimalist sword, Yan Yuanjing felt like he had fallen into a quagmire, and he immediately realized what it was, the sword power. However, Yan Yuanjing is a person who refuses to admit defeat. Otherwise, he would have been beaten and lost his confidence and would not have been able to get to where he is today. Sword energy spewed out from his body, and his body was much more relaxed. As far as the long night is concerned, he can only win with a quick sword, and the longer it drags on, the worse it will be for him. Therefore, Yan Yuanjing's attack suddenly became sharp and fast, and the whole person was integrated into the black eagle, like a cloud-piercing arrow in the air, so fast that people couldn't see the trajectory of his movement at all. Compared with his speed, Qi Changjai's movements have become extremely slow. Many cultivators are worried about Qi Changjai. Why does he still not move and make moves? However, in the eyes of a truly knowledgeable cultivator, Yan Yuanjing is just trying to make a final effort and struggle. In this game, Yan Yuanjing will definitely lose, but as long as Yan Yuanjing can realize the sword's strength in the days to come, this is his biggest gain in this battle. Bang bang bang. No matter how fast or sharp Yan Yuanjing's sword was, it collided with Qi Changjai's sword again and was thrown away, streaks of blood in the air. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 339. The water mirror in front of Elder Wang and Peak Master Shen couldn't hold back when Qi Changjai showed the sword, and the shock on Shen Peak Lord's face could not be concealed. There is no absolute confidence to win. A look of shock flashed in Elder Wang's eyes. His consciousness was still paying attention to the battle scene. This young man's understanding was as good as his cultivation talent. If he couldn't suppress him now, I'm afraid he won't have a chance in the future. He never thought that having a junior in the sect would bring him such a lot of pressure. He didn't know if the sect master started to pay attention to him before Qi Changjai disappeared, but who wanted to mention a certain person in front of him before. The junior genius, he has no interest to pay attention to it at all, but he did not expect that a junior would grow to the point where he felt the slightest threat. How could this simple word genius be able to express his talent? Master. When Feng Zhishen saw such a battle scene with his own eyes, he couldn't raise the confidence to fight against Qi Changjai. Elder Wang seemed to understand what he was thinking. He was a little disappointed with this apprentice. He showed weakness before he met him. His temperament was far from Qi Changjai and the black-clothed swordsman who fought against him. He seemed mediocre. Too much. He waved his hand and said, "Go and tell your junior brother, no matter what he thinks, he will stop it for me, otherwise he won't have to stay in Zixiao Peak. One day he will die in Qi Changjai's hands, and I won't give it to him." Revenge. The foundation he laid was not for his son to destroy. Whether it was his son or his grandson, his performance over the years had disappointed him. If the eldest disciple was a little mediocre, then his son and grandson were utterly stupid. Peak Master Shen breathed a sigh of relief, and said respectfully, "Yes, this disciple will bring a message to junior brother." Peak Master Shen also felt that if junior brother Wang wanted to go to Qi Changjai for trouble, he would only find his own way of death. Now, unless Elder Shen Hua takes action, who can be Qi Changjai's opponent? He remembered the legend of the Mad Sword Demon Senior from 10,000 years ago. With his superb swordsmanship, he could slaughter Huashan during the Yuanying Daqin period. Even if Qi Changjai can't reach that level, he must be able to save his life in the Master of Huashan well. Cutting the weeds without eradicating the roots will bring endless troubles. Outside, as Sect Master Yuan, Palace Master Yin and others expected, Yan Yuanjing insisted on a dozen moves in Qi Changjai's hand, and finally reached the limit, and when he landed, he stopped in the area created by Qi Changjai's sword. Besides, this was the only way to completely get rid of that kind of restraint. Although the body was relaxed, it couldn't help shaking. Qi Changjai stretched out his hand, and the purple thunder sword plunged into his body, and the suppressed sense of space disappeared immediately. Qi Changjai threw a jade bottle. "Fellow Daoist Yan, continue." Yan Yuanjing didn't mean to be polite at all. He took the jade bottle and opened it and poured the medicine pill into his mouth. It was also from Qinhao continent. He knew Guyao's level of medicine no better. He came to Wanluo. It has been 10 years in the mainland, and I have never seen any alchemist who surpassed Guyao at the same level. What Guyao lacks is only time. Hey? Top quality healing pill. Top quality nourishing pill. Where did you get the top grade 6th grade medicinal pill? He poured it into his mouth as if he didn't want a spirit stone, and the monks who noticed the condition of the medicinal pill felt distressed. This is too wasteful, right? Qi Changjai also threw 2 pills that supplemented his spiritual power into his mouth. Now many cultivators are staring at his hand. No, it is the storage ring on his hand that will not be released. This guy's storage. How many top grade pills are hidden in the ring? Could it be that he got it in the sword pavilion? But those who have entered the Jianj immediately rejected the idea, because for thousands of years, unless the medicinal pills in the Jianj are extremely well preserved, they will lose their potency and become waste pills. The monk regretted that he was vomiting blood. Yan Yuanjing immediately landed on the top of the mountain where the sword qi of the 2 of them had been shaved off layer after layer to adjust his breath. Qi Changjai did not leave, but fell to Yan Yuanjing's side to protect him, and laid out a simple formation. Guyao and the others also flew towards him. With Guyao present, Qi Changjai also sat down cross-legged and meditated with confidence. In order to adjust his breath and digest the gains of this battle, he constantly summed up and tempered his sword stance, making it perfect. Originally, he had already touched the edge of the sword, but it was always like looking at flowers across the bank. There was always a layer of fog, and he didn't know from which angle to pierce that layer of film. Until this trip to the sword pavilion, he finally found it. At that point, the power of the sword appeared, and the trial environment in the sword pavilion could no longer trap him. The other cultivators woke up from an excellent swordsmanship duel. Although it had been 3 days and 3 nights, they did not feel tired at all, especially the sword cultivators who were present. They wished that the time would be longer, so that they could watch more and absorb more. the last scene, under the guidance of other knowledgeable senior swordsmen, understood what was going on, and looked at Chi Changjai, who was in the middle of meditation, with more admiration and admiration. Although he was reluctant, he had to leave in twos and threes in the end, but some monks stayed. The people who stayed were for Yan Yuanjing, an unknown sword cultivator who suddenly emerged, and the second for Chi Changjai's superb pill. Sect Master Yuan and Palace Master Yin did not leave, and remained hidden in mid-air. Palace Master Yin was interested in Need Pill and Yan Yuanjing, but he also took aim at one person, Zhou Hu, who stayed with Gu Yao to protect Chi Changjai and Yan Yuanjing. In their eyes, Zhou Hu's demonic cultivator aura could not be concealed at all, and his cultivation base was also very strong. Such a demonic cultivator should also belong to the Wuji Palace. What kind of mess is it in a righteous place like Lingyuan sect? Can there be a start date? Others still had some scruples, but Palace Master Yin did not. He suddenly disappeared beside Sect Master Yuan, and appeared behind Zhou Hu the next moment. Zhou Hu was keenly aware that something was different behind him, and he shielded Yin Hua behind him in a flash, staring at the guy who suddenly appeared. Sect Master Yuan shook his head with a laugh. Yin Wuji couldn't pull anyone out this time, didn't he stop? Immediately, he also fell. After all, the one below is the Palace Lord of Wuji Palace. Wouldn't the absence of his sect lord weaken the power of Lingyuan sect? Sect Master seeing Sect Master Yuan appearing, Gu Yao breathed a sigh of relief, and together with Qi Xian, respectfully saluted the Sect Master. Yin Hua also politely called Sect Master Shen Yuan. After all, he had to rely on this Sect Master for protection on other people's territory. Yin Wuji seemed to be unhappy that Sect Master Yuan came over. He raised his chin towards Zhou Hu and said, "What are you trying to do as a demon cultivator in the Lingyuan sect? Be careful of being caught as a spy and slaughtered." Zhou Hu of course recognized the identity of this guy. Before the sword pavilion, these big guys all showed up. For his status, the Promise Palace is indeed a good place to go, but you can't make people think that he is in a hurry to go. It turns out that I did not intend to join the Lingyuan sect, but I am just a guest in the Lingyuan section. I think Sect Master Yuan is not so stingy, he can't tolerate me as a demon cultivator. Sect Master Yuan smiled with great demeanor, and he had to be tolerant of unruly demon cultivators in order to be able to show the bearing of the great sect of Lingyuan sect. Yin Wuji touched his chin and asked, "Are you interested in the Wuji Palace?" Zhou Hu tilted his head. He still had a tender face, so this action made Yin Wuji want to pinch his face. Zhou Hu asked, "Does the Wuji Palace accommodate cultivators of the right way?" Yin Wuji shifted his gaze to Yin Hua, but his eyes were a bit hotter now, especially when he was standing next to Zhou Hu, who was pretending to be tender. Yin Wuji couldn't see Zhou Hu's intentions towards this cultivator. It's too clear, otherwise it would be willing to stay on a righteous side, and the magic cultivator would be extremely uncomfortable. Our devil's way is not like the righteous way. As long as you stand on your feet with your own strength, who would dare to say more nonsense? Yin Wuji's words were full of murderousness. Those who dare to talk nonsense will lose their lives. Naturally, the rest are those who have no opinion. What do I do? I'm a cultivator of the righteous way, and I will never join the devil's way. Yin Hua was angry and stood beside the Sect Master Yuan with a straight face of justice. At this moment, his image was very consistent with the word moral appearance. Yin Wuji burst out laughing at the cultivator's amusingness. He clearly feared him, but he knew how to use the power of Sect Master Yuan. If the surnamed Yuan was not here, let's see if he dared to say this. Zhou Hu is actually quite interested in the Wuji Palace, but now is not a good time to join the Wuji Palace. Yin Hua has not been taken down. If he enters the Wuji Palace now, there will be fewer opportunities to meet in the future, and there is still time to develop feelings. Alas, why didn't this guy Yin Hua learn from his nephew? Gu Yao couldn't wait to send himself to Lingyuan sect before he came back. Chi Changjai. Zhou spread his hands and said, I think it's quite free outside. It's a newcomer, and it's better to see the scenery of Wanluo continent more. Yan Wuji sneered, disapproving of Zhou's statement, and made it clear that he was fooling others, but he saw ambition in this kid's eyes, so sooner or later he would enter the Wuji Palace one day, and it was Yan Wujing who needed to worry about it. Guys. Then you can see it slowly. There are many talents in the Promise Palace. By the way, where did the top-grade pill in the hands of fellow Daoist Qi come from? Sect Master Yuan looked at Gu Yao on the side. From the expression on Yan Yuanjing's medicine pill, he could see that he was not surprised by the top-grade pill in Qi Changjai's hand, and there was only one medicine master by Qi Changjai's side, and that was Gu. Far away, he has a reason to double, and the medicinal pills on Qi Changjai's body are all from the hands of his Taoist companion. Yin Hua came out again. Want the best pill? Exchange it for the spirit stone and spirit grass to satisfy you. Gu Yao scratched his face, embarrassed. In fact, when Qi Changjai took out the medicinal pill in public, Gu Yao guessed what he meant. This was to open up the situation for himself, and the current development should be expected by Qi Changjai. Qi Xian explained to Sect Master Yuan in a low voice. Xiaoao helped him prepare the medicinal pills on Chang Ye's body. Xiaoao had some scruples when he first entered Lingyuan sect, so he kept his hands on medicinal pills, and hoped Sect Master would not ask for it. Blame it, the disciple also helped to hide it together. If you want to blame, count her as well. Sect Master, I'm sorry, Gu Yao honestly apologized. Yan Wuji was a little unpleasant again. Why is it from the Lingyuan sect? Is the Lingyuan sect destined to have good luck? Although Sect Master Yuan was very optimistic about Gu Yao, he still gave him a surprise. Xiangbei Dangxia Peak's high-level officials would be very excited when they knew about this situation. He dared to blame those alchemists on Dangxia Peak. It is estimated that they will protest with him. Those guys will definitely regard Gu Yao as a treasure. Transmigration, First-Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 340. Yan Wuji stretched out his hand and said, give me a few pills for me to try. Is the medicinal herb used to taste? Gu Yao sweated for a while, but still gave in. Who made the other party the palace lord of the Promise Palace, equivalent to the head of the entire magic way, fumbled around in the storage ring and took out 2 bottles of medicinal pills. Gu Yao's cultivation base is still shallow, these pills won't have much effect on the palace lord. What he took was the common goods, a bottle of healing pills, a bottle of nourishing pills, the pills that any monk needs to be equipped with. Of course, there are differences in grades. The 2 bottles he took out can be applied to the late nascent soul monks, and all it is a top-grade pill. Even if the Yuanying Dacheng cultivator takes it, it will have a certain effect. Palace Master Yin swept away his consciousness, and all the medicinal pills in the jade bottle were of the highest quality. Gu Yao humbly said, no, but most of the best pills are kept for myself. Yan Wuji didn't know that what Gu Yao said was true or false. Originally, he didn't like the pills of a 6th-grade alchemist, and the good things in Wuji Palace were not left to his palace lord's choice, but he didn't have the luxury to use all of the top-grade pills. Thinking about it this way, the look at Gu Yao was a little bit wrong, and he wondered how likely it was to turn this pill master into the Wuji Palace. But this thought disappeared as soon as it came up. With Qi Changjai around, the chance is almost zero. Can someone from Qi Changjai? After the war today, which young generation has such courage? Gu Yao is too old to look down on. Yan Wuji turned to Sect Master Yuan and said solemnly, Sect Master Yuan, it seems that my Wuji Palace still needs to cooperate more with Lingyuan sect in the future. Sect Master Yuan smiled and said, it's easy to say. Several alchemists who had left here and returned to Dangxia Peak suddenly received a voice transmission from the sect master. They froze in place for a while, then turned back in a group, and rushed back at a faster speed than when they came. On the road, they communicated constantly. Is what the sovereign said true? The ancient alchemist's top grade Dan has a very high rate of alchemy. Yin Shi is also one of them. He mentioned something. Have you forgotten the king glutton that the ancient alchemist handed over? At that time, I had a question. The quality of those king glutton was too average, as if it was carved out of a mold. Can you do it? The answer is obvious, of course not. After all, alchemy masters are also human beings, and there is no guarantee that the state and control of each pot of alchemy will be exactly the same, without the slightest deviation. Printed in. At that time, Yin Shi had doubts in his heart, but he always thought that the answer would be bizarre, so he left it behind. Now, when he heard the extremely high rate of high-quality pills, he immediately turned it over. This is what Yu Hao can best explain his doubts. Wei Fengzhi stroked his beard and said, yes, the quality of the medicinal pills refined by the ancient alchemist was indeed very neat, and the medicinal pills that were sent later have never fallen below this level. Haha, this is a good thing, thanks to Qi Change I did a good deed, he turned the ancient alchemist into our sect, let's go, let's hurry up. Several alchemists were amused, but Qi Change I was kidnapped, or else they would have formed such an indissoluble bond with Ling Yunzang. Most local monks were quite repulsive to foreign monks. In the eyes of local monks, the foreign monks came to grab resources from them, and the two sides could not trust each other, so the foreign monks rarely joined the local sect. Without Qi Change I, where did they have the wisdom to discover Guyao, the hidden gem? Seeing that Peak Master Wei was waiting for a few alchemists who turned back, Palace Master Yin despised Sect Master Yuan. Seeing that he was calm, he thought he was really calm, but he had already quietly informed the others. As Sect Master Yuan expected, this time, Wei Fengzhu and others looked at Guyao with very kind eyes. Once the technique is finished, try to make a 5th grade alchemist appear on Dangxia Peak as soon as possible. This kind of good wishes can be put in the heart and the better, but they are not far away from each other. After seeing the sect master and the Yin Palace master, Feng Jiwei and others surrounded Guyao, so Yan Yuanjing and Qi Change I were adjusting their breaths, while Wei Fengzhu led the alchemist and Guyao. A personal seminar on alchemy was held, and the atmosphere was very enthusiastic. Originally, Guyao was apologetic to Feng Master Wei and senior brother Yin, but he had no chance to say his apology, so he was brought into a heated discussion. Guyao also silently swallowed the prepared words when he saw this. Stomach, and then happily enjoy the atmosphere. Yin Wuji smacked his lips in annoyance. When talking about these superficial efforts, the magic way is far worse than these sects of the right way. I don't see this little alchemist's stubborn posture, I can't wait to devote myself to Ling Yunzang. With Guyao's top-grade pill, Yan Yuanjing's injury quickly stabilized, his spiritual power recovered and he opened his eyes. He didn't expect these people to be surrounded, but it didn't make any sense to him. He opened his eyes and said goodbye to him. Where do you want to go? Qi Change I wanted to invite him to stay, but he knew his personality well and didn't want to be bound. Yan Yuanjing thought it simply, just find a hill outside your sect to stay temporarily, so that it is convenient to find fellow Daoist Qi to discuss. Okay, Qi Change I agreed. Yan Yuanjing asked Guyao for another batch of standing pills, and then he was about to leave. Yin Wuji was very depressed. He, the palace master of Wuji Palace, stood here and was ignored? Yan Yuanjing? Don't want to join my promise palace? You must know that the senior mad sword demon comes from our demon way. Yan Yuanjing finally gave Yin Wuji a straight look and replied very simply, I don't want to. Then, for the sake of his being the leader of the devil's way, he added, Master treats both the righteous and the devil's way equally. He only taught me the way of swordsmanship, and did not force me to change the way of the devil's way, so I, Yan Yuanjing, will only kill those who deserve to be killed in the future. Whether right or wrong. After he finished speaking, he wrapped up his sword energy and flew out, leaving behind Yenwiji, who was a little dumbfounded. Sect Master Yuan laughed when he heard it. No wonder Senior Crazy Sword Demon chose such a successor. His temper was the same as Senior. He comforted Yenwiji in a good voice. Senior Crazy Sword Demon only became a demon sword cultivator because he entered the demon sect, but Yan Yuanjing just entered the righteous sect when he stepped into the path of cultivation, so he became a cultivator. Named Jendao Jiangziu, fellow Daoist Yin, you don't need to be too obsessed with righteousness and demons, or you will be obsessed. You are the only one who is photographed, your whole family, no, it is the whole sect who is photographed. Yenwiji glared at this guy angrily. If Senior Crazy Sword Demon was a righteous master, but chose a demon cultivator as his successor 10,000 years later, would he still be able to say these words so casually? But the meat is not cut on himself. Okay, I'm leaving, but this kid is the descendant recognized by the seniors of the Crazy Sword Demon, and he has a love for our demons, but I can't let you bully the right way. Yenwiji disappeared without a word. Next, let the surname Yuan have a headache. Yan Yuanjing is staying outside the mountain gate of Lingyunzang. If anyone dares to attack Yan Yuanjing's idea, Lingyunzang can't just sit back and ignore it. Sect Master Yuan chuckled. He didn't know Yenwiji's careful thinking, but could Yan Yuanjing be bullied by anyone? Now that many people are staring at him outside, it is much safer to stay near Lingyunzang. As the cultivators who watched the battle dispersed, Qi Changjai's name quickly spread in Wanluo continent, including his bizarre experience, falling into other continents through space cracks, and fighting back all the way through hard work, but miraculously fall into the sword pavilion. This is the winner in life asterisk. If you want to become a poor family in life, you have to work your mind, work your muscles and bones, and endure hardships in order to become a superior person. Many cultivators said that Qi Changjai is expected to become the youngest spiritual cultivator. If he fights for it, he may enter the field of spiritual transformation before the age of 100. Depending on the speed of promotion along the way, such a possibility not necessarily impossible. It is said that some casinos have opened their bets, betting on whether the long night can successfully transform into a before the age of 100, attracting many monks to join in. Of course, it's not that no one will laugh at it, 100-year-old god turning almighty? Dreaming, who doesn't know that the higher you go, the more difficult it will be to break through the bottle diameter. Maybe you will be able to break through the bottle diameter of the nascent soul in 3 to 5 years, but maybe you will not be able to break through the wall of the gods for hundreds of thousands of years. Complete. However, the monks who worship and yearn for Qi Changjai are still in the majority. The shadow stone of the 3-day and 3-night swordsmanship competition alone has made a few merchants make a lot of money, especially the swordsmen on the mainland. Even a shadow stone doesn't dare to come out and claim to be a sword repairer. Correspondingly, Gu Yao is often mentioned, without him, because he is the Taoist companion brought back by Qi Changjai, because Qi Changjai's limelight is too high, causing many monks to question whether Gu Yao's ability is worthy of it. Late night. There is no shortage of sour words, and I feel that Gu Yao has his current status because of his golden thighs. Even if others say about the devil's plant, they can be deliberately ignored by these people. Speaking of which, cultivating demon-devouring plants is a bit of a non-starter. This is what a spiritual planter should do. He is an alchemist. Moreover, the sword pavilion has been closed. Except for the monks who want to understand the sword energy left by the mad sword demon senior, there are not many monks who want to enter the death demon realm again, so everyone does not have such a demand for the devil eater. As time goes by, instead, Gu Yao's name appeared after Qi Changjai. Xuecheng met Xie Dingyu of Wuxingmen and complained to him, "What do the monks outside know? I really thought that the devil-devouring plant can be cultivated casually, there is no special method provided by the ancient alchemist, we can do it with our Baikaiman. Don't come out. Who is Daiochi looking for to be a Daoist friend? Do they have the qualifications to say whether they are worthy or not?